And welcome back into a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat here on the Reality Realm Network. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller.
And my name is Brett Parnell.
And let's get started. So do you want to tell us about our episode this week, Brett?
Yeah, so we kind of started doing these a few times in the lead up to 50 as everyone's been talking about it. But we're probably doing for our last one for a while that's our themed 50 returning players cast, but this is a little different. We're gonna be casting this for the next 2 weeks, Blood versus Water 3. So that's I don't know about yours, Bruce, so far. That for me I found was much more difficult than any of the other casts we did because we actually had to go use whatever info we could off of social media, off of loved one visits, and actually research who in 10 returning players' families we actually may want them to be playing with that we would see as first time players.
Yeah. And I have at least one pair on mine that they've played is a returning player for reality, but neither one of them have played Survivor before. So I can
Interesting. I know you mentioned that to me. I thought about doing that because there was a pair that I really wanted on my cast if we ever had a loved one season again that
yeah.
never played Survivor before. I think they might be the player team that you picked. They might not be. So I'm excited to just leave it and see what you do next week. But
Yeah.
despite looking at a few options like that, I kept it to 10 Survivor players and 10 of their loved ones.
Yeah, for me, I was going off of reality players and their loved ones.
Nice.
And this is the last time I'll tease my cast because I'm not done with it yet, and I don't want to give too much away. But I also have a pair that one of them played Survivor and the loved one played on a different prominent reality show.
Interesting.
So we'll get to that next week. But yeah, this is our third fan cast series. And we actually started doing these before they announced 50 would be returning players. We did our Legends casts. We've done New Era All Stars. I don't think have we no, we've done Second Chance also. So this is our fourth one.
Yeah.
We started doing these before 50 and then 50 happened, so we're able to kind of tie it to that in a way. But these are
Exactly.
always fun. I always look forward to doing these.
Yeah, same. Ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen and hit the presentation button when I don't have something in the way of it. And here we go.
Nice.
Survivor Blood versus Water 3. Now, this one I should just tell the audience because, and there may be a way to do it, but I'm not as tech savvy as some people, because we're just playing in a with 10 essentially complete Survivor new players. I decided to just put out my tribes and we'll talk about who's on the cast, who I might have just cut off from the cast. I didn't actually bother in this season running a simulation just because it would have been so difficult with people who aren't actually in Brand Steel to begin with.
Yeah, which you can do. It's just really a pain to do.
That's what I figured. I was trying to figure it out for a day and a half, and I'm like, this ain't working.
Yeah. I used to know how to do it. They've kind of redone Brand Steel a little bit,
Yeah.
so I'd have to figure it out, but happy to know that you didn't, because that means I don't have to for mine either. And I was
Yeah,
trying to figure out how I
exactly.
was going to do that.
So what we're gonna do for mine is it's gonna be 20 castaways, 10 returning Survivor players, 10 of their loved ones. I decided just to kind of give the audience a bit of a thought about where I was going with this first, is that I wanted to get both. I put as close as I could to an even number of all male pairs, all female pairs, and mixed gender splits. Obviously, with having 10 players on each tribe, you're going to have one extra. So there's one more male female team. So mine is 4 male female teams, 3 all female teams, and 3 all male teams. Well, not really teams, but pairings going into the season. Of course, in Survivor, ultimately, at the end of the day, that's one of the key concepts of the game. There is only one winner. So all of these players are playing for themselves. But that I've split that up. And then the other thing that I've tried to do is I tried to see how many different types of relationships between the cast members I could get on here. So I didn't want to put a season of all siblings or a season of all couples or so on and so forth. I really tried to break it up between making sure that I have a father-son team, a mother-daughter team, a few people in romantic relationships, a pair of brothers, a pair of sisters, a couple of LGBT couples, so on and so forth, to really get as diverse of a cast as possible. Because that's the first thing I noticed when I was trying to do this, is getting a diverse cast that way was important and easy to do. Trying to meet the new CBS diversity requirement was next to impossible, seeing that we don't get loved one visits anymore and thus don't know a ton about new era loved ones.
Yeah.
In contrast with the cast that we got before 40. But certainly if CBS was to do this cast again, they would be able to do it because they have way more resources than you or I do.
Yeah, I will ask this though, while we're on the topic of different relationships and types of bonds, because I'm still making my cast. Would you count roommates?
That's a good question. I wouldn't have a problem with it if you decided to. I guess it's really up to the way you decide to go for it, but I haven't put any non-family in my cast.
Okay. Well, because like the San Juan del Sur had a couple that were dating,
Yeah,
but like weren't
I have
married yet. So I feel
have
like
couples like that in this cast.
I feel like roommates isn't that far off. I didn't put the pair in my mind on my list, but I haven't finished yet. So I may put that in there. I just wanted to
no
clarify
problem.
that.
All right, so ready to get to the first name?
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you to start to how I did the slideshow. I'm gonna start by showing you a picture of the loved one. And then I want to know if how many you can figure out who the partner is as a Survivor fan.
Okay.
So our first player is. Did it not go?
It did not go. I'm still on.
Is Kelly from Los Angeles.
Oh, that's Adam Klein's.
That's correct.
Wife? Are they married now?
They are. They were just married in April. So our first team, like you said, is Kelly and Adam.
I love that.
They've lived all over the place, seem to always be traveling now, have been taking a like honeymoon that's lasting 2 months or something in Europe. And I think that she would be someone who would be, seeing that Kelly seems to be very adventurous, I think would be a good fit for Survivor. Adam is obviously such a great strategic contestant and really knows this game. He could prepare her very well for going into it, and I would love to see the two of them play together. Especially this would be neat because Adam was, as he mentioned in Millennials versus Gen X, originally cast for Blood versus Water with his mother, who obviously couldn't make it because she was quite ill at the time.
Yeah.
So it'd be neat to see Adam kind of come full circle and get a chance to play on a Blood versus Water season, but now with his wife.
That would be awesome. I agree. I like this pick.
All right, moving on. This one I'm sure you know is going to be there, but it's Kim.
Yeah, that's Michelle's sister. I knew this would be on yours at some point.
That's right. Yeah, she's someone who is Michelle's sister. I think gave us one of the best individual loved ones visits of all time in Winners at War, especially with the two of them being the only non-romantic relationship to be on that island and both being sisters their whole lives that are so close in real life. I think Kim would be great at this game. She clearly, from what she's posted online, is very successful in business and has a lot of experience working with people. And lately, as with Michelle going to the challenge and kind of getting into that world, Kim's been also doing things with her sister, like taking Rumble Boxing and doing a lot of fitness stuff that Michelle probably got into through the challenge, that I think she'd be in great shape to lead a tribe through some challenges.
Yeah, I love this. That would be awesome.
Next one is a player that we all have seen on Survivor, but were at least heard of on Survivor. It's our first all-male pair, but I don't think anyone's seen his picture, unlike the previous two. So this might be a little harder. Oh, sorry, that's Kim and Michelle. We all knew that. I started
I like that
talking before I
picture.
put the pair up.
I haven't seen that picture before, though. I like that.
Michelle posted this just before Winners at War.
Nice.
And then moving on, we have our all-male team. We have Danny. Any guesses on who Danny is? He's, I believe now in his late 20s. He's from Connecticut, if that's a hint.
Tell me. I'm going to feel dumb when you say it, but tell me.
Danny is Terry Dietz's son.
Oh, that would be cool, considering
who had a
Cambodia.
medical emergency and that led Terry to have to go home from second chances. It would be so amazing to see the two of them get to play together.
I actually really love that pair. That's awesome.
And Terry was certainly a dominant player back in his day, so I'm sure with all of his experience, he would still have it to come out again, even though he does come from old school Survivor.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it would also be neat, like we just said, to see Denny get a chance to play this game that means so much to his dad after his dad left. And it would give him an opportunity to have that experience with the two of them together.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, moving on. We have Wyatt Wurdenberg. I put this player on the cast because I felt that he's a CrossFitter. I felt that the loved ones tribe really needed that like bit of challenge beast mode where I think it's going to be Wyatt and Kim who will be leading their tribe physically.
Yeah. He looks like Jason Statham a little bit, to be honest.
I do not even know who that is.
I'll send you a picture afterwards. It's mostly just the face that's making me say that, but he was in the Fast and Furious movies.
I see.
But, and some other stuff. I like this, though. This is Kim Spradlin's husband, I'm guessing?
No. This is Sarah Lucina's husband.
Oh, you said Wyatt and Kim. Oh, Kim. Okay, I knew the name Wyatt sounded familiar from Winners at War. I pulled the wrong person out of my mind, but...
So, yeah, you're correct. You did see him on Winners at War. He's a CrossFitter. He's also a law enforcement officer alongside Sarah. Nice. And I think Wyatt would definitely probably be like the one person who could compete with somebody. He's not on this cast, but like a Jonathan, and probably provide that character on the season. Sarah, of course, we know is one of the best strategists of all time. Yeah. It would be great to see her back. And also with how well she did in Game Changers, we would be seeing maybe a new Cops R Us that's a bit more loyal to each other as opposed to her and Tony.
True. I like this pick a lot. I think Sarah will be a big target coming in.
Yeah.
How well she did on 34 and 40, so I don't think she'll be around very long. But I could see him going pretty far.
Yeah, that's a good point. Moving on, we have our first new era contestant, and this is Gabrielle.
That is Kelly Nalbandian's fiance, I believe.
That is correct. Fiance is correct. They are engaged. They got engaged right before 45, and I read online today that the wedding is coming up next year. So congratulations to both Kelly and Gabrielle. And you're correct. Kelly also joins this game as as our first player from the new era. There's a few of them on this cast.
Nice.
But not as many as I would think if CBS was to do this theme. I think it would be a lot more new era heavy than we could get just because of limited information.
Yeah, for sure. I like this pick though.
Yeah, and Kelly's become a fan favorite within the new era, so it would be great to see her back. I think the fan base really wants her to come back. Funny enough, when they first posted pictures, I thought Gabrielle was Sydney from 41 hanging out with Kelly all over New York City. They kind of give off the same
Little bit.
impression. But no, they are a couple that's about to be married and would be very popular to see come back. Moving on, we have our second all male pair. And this is somebody I believe that we all know too well, and that's Reed
Oh yeah.
from one of the best challenges of all time with players on a team. Going back to old school Survivor here with this pick.
Yeah, this is Colby's brother, who Colby was doing a terrible job in the challenge in the part that you have to scoop water and toss it to the other person. And Colby yelled at his brother for not catching his terrible water tosses. So
Yeah, if you don't remember what challenge we're talking about, just go watch Loved Ones Visit Heroes versus Villains. You will be laughing your ass off the whole time at how angry Colby gets at his brother for doing literally nothing wrong.
it's hilarious. I love it.
And you were correct. Colby Donaldson joins the game as well.
Nice. Would love to see him come back.
And I just found out too when I was doing research for this, Colby's only 50.
Huh.
So he's certainly not out of the realm of possibility of playing again if he wanted to.
For sure.
There's certainly been players that are much older than him go very deep in the game,
Yeah.
even though he came all the way back from season 2.
Yeah, I would agree. That'd be awesome.
And funny enough, I thought about her and her sister, didn't end up casting them. But if we saw Colby come back, it would be the first time Colby played without Jerry in the same game.
Huh.
I almost cast Jerry's one of the players that I almost casted.
That would be really funny for the two of them to be out there again.
Yeah. And moving on, we have Kiki from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, that's Danny's wife that he mentioned
That is
5,000 times on one
challenge.
of his 2 challenge seasons.
Yeah, if you watch the challenge as well, first of all, free plug here to look into a new show, New Era Challengers, new generation challengers that's coming out. That's going to be released in the first week of August with myself and my friend Titi Fernandez talking about the challenge season 40. But yes, this is Denny McRae's wife that he repeats in about every episode of the challenge that he's playing for his wife Kiki, which is her, if you haven't seen her picture before.
Yeah.
And that's correct. So I almost envisioned when I was going into this, like, I don't know if they would do it again because they haven't done a physical challenge in a while that's like something like we would see with like the sumo challenge, let's say, in Heroes versus Villains. But imagine if we had something like that, or the challenge where you have to pull the other player off the pole between Wyatt, police officer, and CrossFitter against Danny, former NFL linebacker.
Yeah,
that would be quite the competition.
Fantastic to watch. I would love to see that. And so, yeah, I love this pick. I love Danny, one of my favorites from 41. I've used him on 1 or 2 of my previous fan casts. So this is a fantastic pick.
All right, moving on. We're getting to the end of this. It's not the longest episode, but we're also in summer break, so that's okay. We'll be going on quite a bit about 47 once I get back from being in Europe.
Yeah.
But we have the oldest person on this cast, and this is Susan. She's a writer from Washington, D.C.
I don't know this one.
This is Eliza Orlins' mother.
Oh, that's cool.
And she was a very memorable, like, very memorable as a loved one who Eliza won that reward and she got to come back to camp for the day.
That I remember that now. That is really cool, actually.
So it'd be neat to see her go from visiting a survival camp in Vanuatu to potentially playing the game in the new era.
Yes, it would. That would be really cool. That would be really fun to see.
I'm trying to think. I guess Kim would be the one exception, but I think Susan and Kim are the only people on this cast who have been to a survivor camp before, not just competed in the challenge. Obviously, in Winners at War, Wyatt was there as well. Kim and Wyatt got to go, and there was no actual challenge to win a day with your loved one. Everybody got one.
Yeah.
But Susan is the only one who actually won a loved one's challenge and therefore spent a day with Eliza in Vanuatu.
That is, yeah, I love this pick. That's really cool.
Moving on. We have Kareem. He is a Mexican American living in Puerto Rico.
Is this Jam Jam?
That's correct. This is Yam Yam's husband.
Wow, that was a total guess on my part. Yeah, I'd like to see Jam back. I really enjoyed him his first season.
Yeah, same as me. I think until D, he was probably the one like top winner of this new era. So I think it would be great to see him come back. And then you do notice that he mentions his husband quite often. So it would be neat for him to go from that experience to us actually seeing Kareem on our television sets.
Yeah, for sure. That would be awesome.
All right, so gives us three equal sets of pairs. So that's going into our final pair now. And that is Austin from California. He's a soldier.
Oh, Angelina.
That's right.
That's awesome. Love that. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We do see Angelina talk about his service in the military and I think he's the US Navy, so that would be interesting to see. She's certainly been one of the most memorable characters of the 30s that really, because of Winners at War and then the pandemic and them going into the new era, has kind of been robbed of a chance to play. I think she'd be one of the first people to get a call if they decided to have a season that included players from the 30s. So I think that would be a great pair here.
I definitely think she would. I love that idea. I think she'd be really fun to see come back.
And in his case, if he's served in the Navy during wartime, he certainly almost kind of could give us that, like, who knows, that like new Rudy aspect of I've done way worse and way far more challenging stuff than this.
Yeah, for sure. And I love this pick. This is fantastic. I think he could be really good at this.
All right, so moving on. Here's our returning players to summarize. We have Michelle Fitzgerald, the winner of Korong, Angelina Keeley of David vs. Goliath, Eliza Orlins of Vanuatu and Micronesia, Sarah Lucina, the winner of Game Changers, Kelly Nalbanian of 45, Colby Donaldson of Australia, Yamia Muracho, the winner of 44, Adam Klein, the winner of Millennials versus Gen X, Terry Dietz of Panama, and Denny McRae of 41. What would you be looking if these 10 players walked on the beach of who might work with who might oppose who, so on and so forth? Where do you think this tribe would break down?
I think Sarah and Danny migrate to each other from Challenge USA 1 and Challenge World Championships.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm not sure. Michelle and Angelina, I could see.
I could see that. I could also see, at least amongst the females, a big New York City alliance. Michelle, Eliza, and Kelly.
Yeah, I also don't see Eliza and Jam working together.
Interesting.
Just because at some point during this past season, Eliza went on one of her tweets of complaining about 26 days for the whatevereth time, and Jam Jam commented on it, something along the lines of "Let it go." I think
I see.
I re- which was probably joking, and there's probably nothing there. That just comes to my mind. But Jam is Jam Jam's very positive, and in the game seems to be very outgoing. So I feel like they'd probably be fine now that I'm talking this out.
And then also another thing that's interesting to note is what would happen with Michelle, Adam, and Sarah. We have 3 winners. Would the other 7 target them, or would they want to work together?
I feel like they're getting the. I feel like they're getting targeted.
I think Sarah's definitely getting targeted.
Yeah.
That's one thing we didn't mention. You said Eliza and Jem wouldn't work together. Eliza and Sarah would not work together.
How did that not come to my mind? That's the big one. Good lord.
But no, sorry. I may have a degree in Canadian and American politics. I find this stuff funny and I don't try not to talk about it on the show.
No, you're good. This one was funny.
But no, I think Sarah's definitely in a spot to get targeted um because of her um 34 game. Adam probably as well. I think Michelle could be in a place where she could get targeted as a winner. But looking at this cast, I do see a lot of relationships that she could have with Eliza, with Kelly, with Angelina, with Danny from the challenge, with Sarah from Winners at War and the challenge, that she could have probably of the 3 winners the best places to go and the most options.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I think Colby having not played in a while, people might not be like know his game
Yeah,
quite as much as someone like a Kelly or
yeah.
like a Michelle or a Sarah.
Same as even Terry because we barely got a chance to see him on second chances.
Yeah. So I feel like the two old school guys could do better than people would expect.
Yeah, I could see that. Ready to move on to the Loved One tribe?
Yeah.
All right. So we have, to summarize, Gabrielle, who is the fiance of Kelly, Kiki, who is the wife of Danny, Kim, who's the sister of Michelle, Susan, who's the mother of Eliza, Kelly, who is the wife of Adam, Wyatt, who's the husband of Sarah, Kareem, who's the husband of Jam Jam, Danny, who's the son of Terry, Reed getting smashed in the face with a bucket of water in the photo,
Hmm.
who is the brother of Colby, and Austin, who is the husband of Angelina.
Yeah, I think this will be a fun group. For some reason, my mind goes to Gabrielle and Kaylee just as the gut reactions of who's going to be the best players on this tribe.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think Austin could do really well, but I don't really see anyone here being bad at this or somebody that the tribe will just want to vote off first chance they get. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I could see those. I think some. I'm sure at some point, if the loved ones of the loved ones, meaning the castaways, have pregame before together, Kim and Kelly probably know each other. I think Danny could be in a bad spot only because if he makes the merge, it's such a amazing story that he would be the Danny is the number one jury threat in this whole game.
Yeah, for
Going
sure.
into it, that story, if he was to go deep and win, would just be amazing, and no other player is probably going to give him a chance. Um, I could see someone like Wyatt being very physical in the pre-merge and his tribe liking him, but probably getting rid of him right at the end of the pre-merge game or right at the beginning of the individual game before they don't have a chance to. And I could see maybe Austin in that same boat, in that he may be seen as too big of a threat with his experience as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think anyone who has seen Danny's 2 challenge seasons knows how much love there is and how tight he and Kiki are.
Good point.
And so if that is known, and known how often he mentioned her in the challenge house in his confessionals, she could get targeted early on this tribe. But if that is not known, or there's not people that have watched those seasons, I feel like she might be able to do really well. I feel like Danny probably would coach her up really well coming out here.
Yeah, I could see that. So let's, before we wrap up and before we do an aligned blindside first boot, ask some questions that just come to mind. I'm thinking back to two players with this, Nina Twine and Sierra Easton. Which castaway do you think is the most likely to vote out their loved one, or the other way around?
I'm thinking. I'm gonna go with either Kelly or Michelle off the top of my head.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm totally off base there. I don't know. Those are just the names I came up with.
I could see that. I get the sense, and maybe it just is that challenge, but I think that Colby and Rita are so competitive with each other that one of them could get a lot of pleasure with voting their brother out.
Yeah, for sure.
I also think you could possibly see a situation where I don't know. I would say that would be my pick probably early on.
Yeah.
If I was to look at who might vote out someone that's in the game, like, oh, sorry, which loved one might vote out a castaway, that's where I might go the opposite and maybe start looking at winners and who might hold people back, and going, could Wyatt maybe vote Sarah out in order to play by himself? Could Kareem vote out yet Jam Jam? I don't really see a situation where Kim would vote out Michelle, only because I think it would be just as important for Kim as it would be to Michelle to see Michelle get some of those records by playing again.
You mean specifically coming for Amanda's record, right?
Yeah.
For
So
those of you not on YouTube, I grabbed the Amanda pop figure off the shelf behind me and just held it up in front of the camera.
So yeah, I don't see that there. I think the two of them would work together to as deep as they could go in the game. But yeah, that would be about what I would say, either Colby and Reed or Wyatt and Sarah.
Yeah. So what other questions did you have?
Other one is kind of the exact opposite. Which loved one pair do you think would go the deepest in the game together?
I think Adam and Kaylee have a good shot at this. I also think Kelly and Gabrielle have a shot at this. They come to my mind for both answers, actually. I don't know why, but
well, I mean, technically in 27, Laura and Sierra were the last loved one couple standing, and then they did vote. Sierra did vote out Laura, so that could very well be true.
True.
Yeah, I could definitely see that with Kelly and Gabrielle. I think they would come in, especially with Kelly being newer and being well liked, as not as threatening as, say, players that have gone deeper into the game or that have that multiple season experience. As far as Adam and Kelly go here, I'm not sure I agree with that. Something tells me that Adam might just play a bit too aggressively again, but it would be interesting to see if he learned. from
Yeah, for
some of
sure.
his mistakes in season 40 when he wasn't playing against all amateurs. Um, anyone other than ones that would come to mind for me necessarily? Probably not. I think Kelly and Gabrielle is exactly where I would be thinking it would go as well. I'm with you on that one.
Nice. I like this a lot. This has been a really fun cast.
Yeah, it has been. And I just got a notification, just so you know, another Cardinal home run.
Nice.
Fantasy points for my team.
Oh, was it Arenado again?
Yep.
That's his second one of the game. He hit one right before we started recording.
Nice.
It might be the one from earlier that you're
Oh,
just
maybe I
getting a
got the
late delay
notification.
on.
Oh well, the audience doesn't want to listen to baseball. They want us to go into a line blindside first boot.
True. They did listen to a lot of baseball on the David Sampson episode, though. So get
Yes,
used
they
to it.
did.
They can deal with it.
All right. So, do you have three names you want to go with, or do you want me to give you three that I have?
You go first this time.
All right. I'm gonna give you three names of players. Let me give you. Let's just for fun give you three pairs of loved ones that I cut at the end that I was trying to decide between. And they did not make this cast. And you can align blindside and I guess first and second boot an entire pair to change it up a bit. So your options are Lauren O'Connell and her dad from Edge of Extinction, um, Sydney Segal and her brother Mason, that you may have seen in the two of them traveling together quite often,
Yeah.
and Sandra Diaz Twine and Nina Twine that we saw as a Blood versus Water team in Australian Survivor. I thought about putting them onto a US cast and decided against it.
Interesting. So it was Sandra and her daughter, or that pair?
Sandra and her daughter, Lauren and her dad, and Sydney and her brother.
Sandra and Nina are gonna go first just because they both kind of scare me to play against.
Yeah, I
Nina
agree.
gets medevaced her first season, I believe. I haven't watched it, I've read that. And she went pretty far into Heroes versus Villains.
And Nina voted out her mom and then got medevac the next week.
Yeah. I am going to align with Lauren and her brother because Lauren's my favorite one timer ever.
Yeah. You mean her dad?
Yeah, sorry, Dad. And I'm going to blindside Sydney and her brother because that's the only spot that's left.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on all of those three. Um, I think Lauren and her dad seem like they have a great relationship. They'd both be very trustworthy allies. We were so robbed of a Sydney Segal jury appearance. To see her in that spot would be amazing. And then you have to first boot Sandra at this point, and Nina was also proved to be a great player in the Australian game. It would be interesting to see how that would transition over to the American game, because while it's the same concept, there's certainly some big differences between US and Australian Survivor, but they both would be coming in with experience, and that's dangerous.
Yeah. So my turn.
Yeah, your turn.
I am going to go with pairs also. I will use my roommate's pair first because I already have a few pairs on my cast that neither one of them have played Survivor, but they're reality pairs.
Okay.
So I don't need another one of those. You're familiar with both of these people. I don't know if our audience is or not, but roommates Alyssa Lopez and Alyssa Snyder. I still want to see them both play Survivor. I just want to get more Survivor people on my cast specifically. I
Nice.
will go with Kelly Wentworth and her husband, Artem, since she started her career on the second Blood versus Water. I'll bring that back around full circle.
That would be interesting.
Also thought about for my cast, but ultimately said no.
And maybe not have Kelly get completely have her game sunk by her dad this time.
Yeah. And for the last one, I will go with I'll just go with a pair from the original Blood versus Water and throw it all the way back and go Aris and Vetus. So I went with one
Interesting.
all-female, one male-female, and one all-male.
So Iris and Vetus, Kelly and her husband, and both Alyssas.
Yes.
I'm going to align with Alyssa times two. I think they've clearly shown they know how to play these type of shows, whether it be Big Brother or The Challenge. At least I hear they're good on Big Brother. I haven't watched it, but they've both certainly done well on The Challenge.
We can ask Kevin. He likes Big Brother.
Nice. We will do so. And then I think I agree with you. I think both of them would be interesting cast members to see come to Survivor. They're both great television. That's gonna lead me to Blindside, Kelly Wentworth and her husband. I would want to work with Kelly. I don't think I can go to the end with her. She's just too dangerous. I don't really know much about him, but I assume if the two of them are together, that he would probably be very threatening as well. And that leads me to first boot, Aris and Vetus. One, we have the winner issue that we've talked about before. And two, they to me seem like kind of like that superlative question that I asked you. This pair to me seems like a pair that could vote each other out. And that could be very dangerous in your alliance.
Yeah, they do. I'm going to first boot them, and I always use the winner thing, so I'll put that aside. They do seem like the type that could vote each other out, but also their storyline on the first Blood versus Water was about trying to grow closer together as brothers. And
yeah.
So maybe they wouldn't, maybe they after that journey. But I'm going to first boot them just because I like the other two pairs. I want to align with Kelly so bad, but I'm scared of going to the end with her.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about her husband, but I feel like he'd probably be really good too. I don't know. I want to align with her so bad. She's one of the 3 players on my little shelf up here. But I have to play with my head and not my heart, so I am going to blindside them very begrudgingly. I'm going to put a little sad face on the parchment when I do it. And align with the 2 Alyssas, who
nice.
I don't watch Big Brother. I really enjoyed them both on the challenge. And based on social media, they both seem super nice. Hold on 1 second. I texted Kevin while we were talking and said, are the 2 Alyssas good at Big Brother? And this is the response. Are you ready?
Yep.
Quote, I haven't seen Alyssa L play, but Alyssa S I have. Alyssa S was all right. She made jury, but not the final. Had a showmance with a guy who ended up being labeled as a racist, so her game kind of had a sour note to it.
Oh, so maybe she can do better at Survivor and the challenge than at that game.
I'm not taking Big Brother into account here because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm not either.
She was really good at the challenge.
She was.
Seems to get along with people really easily. Seems super nice. And Alyssa L, we've seen in a few eliminations and in dailies, and she's good at challenges and decent physically. So we'll see.
Nice. Well, that was a fun episode.
It was. I'm looking forward to doing mine next week. I need to finish my cast between now and then. But everyone grab your torches and head back to camp. Bye, everyone.
Have a good night.